What's going on, everybody? We are back for OctoBeerFest Week 4.
Episode 34.
That's
and
right.
OctoBeer.
Absolutely. We are back from a trip from the dark side, as if you saw our Facebook post.
And we're not talking about Tori's house.
Nope. or my side of town. Either of those two things. We got some pretty cool stories for you guys. We got a
New experience, a new beer.
New beer, new experiences. Torres, why don't you go ahead and give us a rundown?
All right, today we are drinking a beer called OctoBeerFest.
Oh, shit. Good thing I was sitting down for that.
Oh, I thought you spilled something.
Made by Sierra Nevada. It's 5.8 ABV, and it is brewed in California by Sierra Nevada Brewing Company, which is weird.
You don't say. Well,
the Sierra Nevadas do run through part of California as well.
Yeah, suck it, California.
yeah. So this is the one that we've had some claims that is better than the Sam Adams
We've had
Oktoberfest.
2 or 3 different people tell us that this is better than Sam Adams.
So let's go ahead and crack it open and tell these people how they're wrong. Oh, we don't have cups.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yeah, we don't need the glug glug.
There we go. Oh, shit.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Okay. Just quick first impression is that's pretty fucking
That's
good.
really fucking good.
I can't even deny that is pretty fucking good.
It's not bad, I'll tell you that much.
No, it's definitely not. But we'll get into that for sure. So we're going to... Basically, what happened was yesterday, or we'll say on October 22nd, the boys and I went down to Zak Bagan's Haunted Museum here in Las Vegas. If you don't know about it, he spoke about it on the show Ghost Adventures, which is on Travel Channel. And he also did a small spin-off series in 2017 that's currently on Hulu called Ghost Adventures Artifacts. And it talks about some of the really key pieces that he has in the museum. This was very, very weird, but very, very also enlightening, at least for me. And we're gonna.
Oh no, absolutely! Like I've already been there once before, you guys, and it's still one of those ones where, like, walking through. To me, I know Torres isn't a believer, but to me, it's still one of those things where you're like, I'm still not gonna fuck with shit.
No, it's definitely something you don't want to fuck with. I don't care if you're religious, if you're not, if you're diehard Christian or whatever your religious stance may be. And it's not just the demonic stuff; it's just some of the darker things, and we'll talk all about that. And I think what we'll do is we'll give us each the floor for a minute and allow us to explain our personal experiences. We'll have Torres go last since he's the one who's going to be the most skeptical, I'm assuming. And we'll just we'll do it like that. So Walden, how'd you feel?
So I will say this is my second time through, and it was one of the ones to where the first time through, I think I was a little more quote unquote affected. Mm-hmm. Like coming out, I felt like there was a different type of spiritual aura of coming out to where you're like, all right, it kind of got to me.
Yeah.
It made you feel different?
You just feel like creeped out, like there's something around you, like there's just that uneasy feeling.
Right.
The second time it wasn't as bad.
Okay.
I don't know if that's because the first time we went, it was like 10:30 at night, so you go in when it's dark and you come out when it's dark. Mm-hmm. And this time we went in. We did go a little early. We went in about, 4:15, 4:30-ish by the time we actually went in. Sun's still up, and we came out when it's dark.
Yeah.
So, spirits weren't swirling or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Swirling.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, whatever you want to call it.
Things weren't stirring.
But walking in, it was one of those things, like I kind of got that same feeling where you're like, all right, we're going to see something cool, something a little creepy, something that put me off. And, the first room they put us in is like this weird opening entrance to where it's got a bunch of just weird shit in it.
Yeah.
It's got different machines, like that creepy laughing lily or whatever the fuck they called it. Mm-hmm. That one thing that almost grew up Tori.
Yeah. Oh, that big mechanical
that like rocked back and forth
thing
and had the creepy
with
face
the curly hair.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. I don't even remember what they called that thing, but that thing was kind of creepy. So it kind of sets the mood. Mm-hmm. I will say, we even talked about this afterwards. Now we talked about irrational fears. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm not afraid of dolls, but I am by no means comfortable around them.
Right.
So when we went in that tiny little closet with all those fucking porcelain dolls right at the beginning,
yeah,
it kind of put me at that point where I was like,
yeah.
Like, listen, I've seen too many of these fucking Annabelle fucking haunted doll things to be comfortable in this room. Mm-hmm. Because they even talked about one of those dolls in there. I can't remember the name of it. They were like, that one's fucking haunted. And that's why it's in its own special case.
Yeah, in the glass case
Yeah.
or whatever.
Well, that was Peggy. The Peggy
No.
doll.
Peggy was upstairs.
Oh,
this
you're
is
talking about
right
the
off
other
the bat.
one.
It's like Margaret or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They all have like old Old white lady names like Marge.
Yeah. What's this on adult? It's not Becky.
It's not Lakeisha.
No,
It's
it's something like Esther or some fucking
Gwyneth.
Agatha. Like
It's never
something
Maria.
ultimate. Right?
It's never Esperanza. No, it's or
Sharkeisha.
nope.
Sharkeisha.
Aquanifa. We don't do shit like that. None of that.
Anyways, afterwards we went into that Western room. I didn't really like those. Are cool because you saw like Wyatt Earp's Bible. You saw
Yeah.
Jesse James's gun.
Yeah.
You saw those cool things. That bell rang on you, and that was a little odd.
Yeah, we'll tell that story.
But I didn't really feel anything in that room. You kind of going on, and then
Also, that room was daylit.
yeah,
Remember?
there was a little bit of light in that room from outside. We also did the RIP, which is like their version of VIP.
I'm glad we did that, by the way.
Yeah. So we got to go down. I will say that the basement, which you don't get on the normal tour, but on the RIP tour, that basement was creepy.
That was
That was a little creepy.
yeah.
They
That's
talked
pretty
about
cool.
how like Janice Jameson's family lived there, which I don't know how I feel if that's true or not.
You don't think that's true?
Well-
I mean,
Well, they
because
had
it used to be the place where people took the bar exam. It used to be abandoned. Like, so how old is Jenna Jameson? She's not that old.
Well, no, it was her brother that had the stories, and then Jenna Jameson, if
But
I'm
even
not
then, is
mistaken.
how old her brother?
No, but they had the birth certificate, a copy of it, supposedly
Yeah.
saying that.
Yeah, but it was all redacted, so you couldn't even see the name. Like,
No, you could.
no, the name was not on.
No,
Trust
some,
me, I looked.
some stuff was redacted,
There's a
but
bunch of
supposedly
redacted
had
stuff.
the address of that location as being their address for their birth certificate. So
But overall, is I'll kind of cut it short because I'm sure we have other experiences going on. But I would say the first part of that tour was one of the things that set the tone of like, all right, this is going to be kind of creepy.
So on that, which I just typed Jenna Jameson, and on Google, the first result is Jenna Jameson Haunted Museum. Of everything in the world about Jenna Jameson, why would that be her first?
Because you didn't click it into your incognito browser.
they're listening.
Well, that too. Yeah. So, okay, I'm sorry, continue.
No, but I'm just saying because you went in, we saw the Dubuque box, we saw a couple spirit boxes of things that might be going on. We saw, Peggy the doll, which is creepy. We saw the clown area. There was a whole bunch of cool things, but like I said, I'm not trying to overpower. I'm just going off of my first experience. Well, my first experiences in there this time around. I feel like that kind of set the tone for everything, and I'd want you guys to get out there and get your experiences.
What did you take going in a second time? Because that's what makes this interesting is because we all have different accounts. Torres and I's first time, but also Torres is a skeptic. I'm a believer, but this is my first time, and then this is your second.
Right.
So what did you have going in? What were you looking for? Was there anything that you had seen the first time or felt or experienced the first time that you were trying to see if you got again? Or
So the one that I didn't see the first time because I was already like, you know what, I'm kind of done fucking with things is the demon staircase or whatever. The devil staircase from the very last
from the
thing we
demon
saw.
house.
Yeah. That was one I didn't see the first time, so I was actually excited to see that in that.
Did you do the VIP or the RIP experience?
No.
The first time?
They didn't even have that the first time.
So
it was just
you didn't go in all those extra rooms we went in?
no.
Oh, okay.
That creepy little tunnel where you couldn't see shit, where we had to bend down to Torres's height. Like,
yeah, no, even he was fucking crawling through there.
Right.
That was
actually
weird.
pretty cool. I think that was one of the things that. Okay, there's no reason for that other than you want to walk through a creepy little fucking.
Well, the significance behind it was in that room that's what they made those people do, right?
Yeah.
They had
Yeah.
to be able to sustain
The
living
oddities
in
room.
the fucking living in total darkness or whatever the fuck it was. Yeah, that was definitely weird.
I was waiting for a slide to be at the end, and I just take one more step and just.
Right, or like you walk into something and it fucking scares you.
I think they do a very good job of not making it gimmicky because he has to toe a very fine line. If Zak Bagan, if you go back and you watch anything, and he's talked about this since the beginning of Ghost Adventures, is he's made it his life mission to basically try to convert people into believers.
It's out there as it is what it is. Like we're not gonna we're gonna talk about clowns and then it's gonna be some guy coming at you going
Yeah, no. He doesn't want to game it up, so to speak. He wants the items to kind of speak for themselves.
yeah, which I would say some of them absolutely do.
Right. Sorry, I had a timer set. I didn't know that it was going to actually beep.
Okay.
My bad.
That's all right.
So yeah, it's that was definitely that was a weird one. So I'll say I'll start here. And
Hey, we'll kind of chime in on each other's stories from what we hear.
for sure. So when we initially walked in, firstly the setting is very that
It's
house
super dark, is it not? I think they do a very good job of keeping it dark, so you're not
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, I'm just walking through daylight. Like,
Yeah.
no, once you walk in, it's fucking dark.
Right. They do an amazing job with that. There's definitely some gamemanship in that regard. They had to have someone come in and talk about lighting and visuals and layout in a proper way to direct you around that home to ensure that you create that experience.
Yeah.
The items in that first initial room when you walk through the door and they take you to the left, and they tell you that not everything in there is haunted or attached to something evil or something like that.
But everything does have a story.
Everything does have a story, but not everything is deemed as bad or evil. But all of it is odd or weird or that, occult / macabre type stuff.
Right.
And that room with the dolls was weird, definitely. Especially they do a really good job with sound deadening.
Yes.
They create silence very well. So when you
you
step
don't hear
in there,
cars driving by.
No.
You don't hear fucking other people walking around.
If there was a siren outside, police running by, especially in that area of town, you would not know.
Yeah. It's on 6th Street.
Yeah.
You know when it's a number street, it's bad.
Right.
Number or letter. Yeah. That's all bad.
Number, letter, Martin Luther King, or Washington. That is never a good street. I'm telling you right now.
That's when you lock your doors in your car.
Yep. Lock your door. Have your gun on standby. So yeah, that was definitely weird. So the part that Walden's talked about when we stepped to the next room, which was the Wild West themed room, and it's had a lot of Nevada history attached to it. That was obviously exclusive to the state. When we first stepped into the room, they had some old slot machines or like games that used to be in
the test your strength type.
Yeah.
The
Grip strength
your
and shit like that.
lovometers or whatever it was.
Right.
But not quite those.
Yeah, so, and they had like a makeshift poker game set up to give you kind of a feel, whatever. So Walden steps
How creeped
in.
out were you when that thing turned its head, by the way?
Yeah, well, that was an animatronic, but I was definitely like, is
that head supposed to move?
is that supposed to move? And
The way you asked, you were like, is that supposed to move? And she was like, yeah. And everybody else was like, oh, it does move.
because I was not freaked out, but I was looking for, because I'm gonna be honest with you, I wanted to see something.
Tori's
absolutely.
like,
Oh, shit!
Yeah. For real. For real. I did, though. I was looking for something. I was looking for shadows.
Something moving.
I was
something-
looking for light anomalies. I wanted to hear something. I did and I didn't. But one thing about paranormal and stuff is like, the only way that you're going to really confirm these things is if you experience them yourself. And they're all very...
Okay, hold on. I just want to chime in on that real quick. Torres, were you, I don't want to say hoping to see anything, but were you kind of hoping in a way of like, let me see what people are believing or seeing or anything like that?
yeah. I was
You
like,
were kind of hoping
yeah.
that something, not
Like-
necessarily would happen, but you're like, oh, that might be possible.
Yeah, I wanted to see proof. Like,
Okay.
I wanted to experience
So you
something.
weren't just walking in like stupid, dumb, lame.
No, I was
Okay.
trying to like listen to stuff, and
So you had
I'll get to my part when.
So you went in with open-minded.
Right.
Okay.
Right. I just wanted to get that out so that way we're not like forgetting about asking you that.
Yeah. So when we stepped into that room, and they had those machines there, Walden steps in front of me, and he walks in, and Walden, correct me if I'm wrong, but you walk in, and then you immediately do a 180 to turn to face the door.
Right, because you walk into the right, you kind of walk by this little machine, and then
Counterclockwise, we're
Yeah.
making a perimeter.
like
in the
you're
room.
standing in the door, and you looked in the back right of the corner was where the setup, the two guys playing poker or whatever.
Right.
So because of COVID and all that, they're separating us. So they said you guys go into the right, and then this other couple or group that we were in went into the left.
Yeah.
It's not a big room.
No.
It's maybe what
10 by 10?
10 by 10.
Yeah,
Like there's no
something
way
like
it's that big. So I walked in, got all the way to the back corner and turned around to kind of face back where the host or tour guide or whatever you want to call her was.
Yeah, so he does that. He turns around, and I step in behind him, and I do the same thing. But for whatever reason, as soon as I pass one of the machines, it just goes bing, and there's a metal bell inside of it.
Yeah. No reason. Didn't get touched.
I look at Walden. I look at the other people in the room, and then I look at the tour guide like, is that supposed to do that? And she just goes, oh, yeah, it does that sometimes.
Maybe. Who knows?
It's like, what?
Like, yeah, hold on. Does it go off for no reason or does it just go off?
Yeah, like what the like? Because
And then I said, it's a pour detector.
which the tour guide thought was really funny, by the way. I don't know if you heard
super
her laughing.
rude.
Yeah. So that was definitely interesting. And then from there we went to it would be almost be impossible for us to each give you a full walkthrough
A
of
full detailed tour.
Because
We
my
were there
room.
for 2 hours.
2 hours. So if anybody
And they
is-
said the tour was supposed to be an hour to an hour and a half. We were
Yeah.
there for 2.
Yeah, so if any of you guys are thinking, because I know we have a lot of listeners here on the West Coast and in California, if next time you're out in Vegas, and it is open year round, by the way.
Yes, highly suggest going. By the way.
We definitely suggest it, but don't think that you're going to spend, because it's not cheap. It's for the tour we took was $100, $90.
No,
No, it was 50. If you want to do the RIP, I think it came out to 80. But you do get the shirt and the extra action.
The shirt alone,
you get a shirt. The ones that
shirt
we're
alone is
wearing
$30.
right now.
Yeah,
Yes.
we're wearing them right now. So basically, what you're doing is paying for the shirt, but it's not a little cheap walkthrough thing. This is legit. It's a huge house,
11,000 square feet.
11,000 square foot home. I did not know that. And there's a
30
lot.
bedroom, I believe, is also what it said.
30 bedrooms.
So one of the other things. Okay, so I did want to talk about going down to the basement.
Basement
So,
/ catacombs is what this bitch said.
yeah. So firstly, one thing that we didn't mention was that the tour guide, at least that we have, I don't know if it's part of the presentation or if it was her personal preference, but they refused to go down with us.
Right.
We were sent down there by ourselves. So
I almost feel like, so with how narrow it was, because I'm a big dude and my arms were pretty much touching both sides. Mm-hmm. Like it was a narrow little strip. So you go down this dark fucking stairwell. Turn around, you see like this weird little room with like some red lights in it, and then it's like you go down this other deep fucking hallway with like archways into the what they call it, the
I don't know if it
not
had
the seance room, the fucking
well, it was where they performed rituals.
Well, the backstory was that this was the room where they talked about Jenna Jameson and her brother.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
where they used to
supposedly
do
that they
sacrifices
claimed
and crap
that
like
they did satanic rituals down there, according to Jenna's brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Which they do show texts that supposedly Jenna sent to Zach himself.
There is presentation throughout it where there's screens set up, and Zach himself is giving you the rundown of certain areas.
Which I do appreciate that, because throughout the whole thing, there were little monitors of like, look what's happened in this room, look what's happened in this room.
And there's cameras everywhere. So I noticed the cameras, and at first I thought it was, it has to be number one for security. Because you can't have anyone taking anything out of there.
No.
But also number two, this place is 24/7 monitored for activity.
Right.
And they have clips set up throughout the museum showing you odd things that have happened in the
People
room.
who've passed out, people who've fucking fallen.
Right.
People,
Glass falling off of the off of display cases, things like that. But all right, so this room, right? So here's the weird thing that happened to me, and I want to tell you guys about this. So when we went down there into the room, you walk in, and again with the sound, and maybe just also being underground helps it. It is the oddest, deadest, stillest silence that you can imagine. The air for me at least was heavy. I hate
stagnant, like
I hate using this word because when when you're talking about these things, this word gets overused. I feel like, which is energy. And the energy in that room and in that area was just like, it was just off. It was just, the whole place is off, but that was really off. And for whatever reason, I had the feeling or desire, and I happened to look up at the ceiling because the ceiling is very low. This house is very old. So the doorways are shorter, the ceilings are lower, and, I'm a taller guy. So
didn't you also get lightheaded walking into it initially?
That's what ended up happening. Is I look up, and then when I look back down, I had like this weird feeling of just like, I don't know how to explain it. It was just like a whoa, like I don't know. I don't know. It was weird. It was totally weird. So then we leave there because I did feel not like a oh my god, I have to get out of here. It was just like okay, let's go. You know what I mean? Like all done.
I saw my thing, I'm out.
So we go back upstairs, and then they took us, if I'm not mistaken, they took us to the Dr. Kevorkian room.
Yeah.
Right? And we'll get into that. But as we went back out, I don't know if you guys saw this, I don't know what came over me. I don't know why. I don't know what I was thinking. But as we went out of the Dr. Kevorkian room, we were going to go right, and we were going to go to the murderabilia room. I took another step back towards that staircase, and I looked back down.
Call the void.
And I was like, and I'm not even kidding. I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm not telling this just to sound cool on the show here or nothing. There was something I was like, I want to go back down there. And I don't know why. It was like just staring, because it's just dark, and you just see the floor.
So you know what it is too is I remember when she first said you guys are going to go down there. I could not stop staring down there. I was like, hell yeah, we're going down there.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm scared to death. I don't know what the fuck I'm about to see down there, but I want to go down there.
Yeah, like there was almost like this weird desire, and I don't know if, and I'm not going to sit here and start playing angels and demons, but I don't know if it's the fucking Satan calling you or what, but there was just something that's like, there was a split second of like,
come get this dick.
Like, a split second of like, I want to go back down there. And it was just weird.
maybe I'll die down there.
Yeah, so that was one of my weirdest things. But let's get to Mr. Skeptic here, and then we'll start going over more parts of the museum. But
What did you
Torres,
think,
what
Torres?
was your? How did you feel? Give us your rundown.
Okay, so I did try to go in there with an open mind. Granted, you guys know that I'm not a believer of a lot of things, but more specifically, I think when it comes to like ghosts and spirits and stuff like that, I've never once had an experience like that. Never witnessed something like move on its own that can't be explained or anything like that ever. Yeah, I've seen videos of different people's accounts of like, oh, look, that swing is swinging by itself in the park, or like, I'm like, okay, cool, like, but I always think there's some sort of explanation that can be given to debunk it.
Fair enough.
So I'm really not a believer in that kind of stuff. So I kind of did want to experience something. I went in there. I'm like, okay, I want to go in there. I don't want something to hurt me, but I didn't think something was gonna hurt me. But I'm like, oh, maybe I'll feel like something tug on my shirt, or get like a feeling like, oh, this part of the room is cold, or like all those things that you see like on all these like ghost adventure type videos.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, they even said is like people who've gone through, like they've experienced little things like, I can't remember who they said they went into one room and they were like, my arm just got super cold and I can't feel my fingers. And then
Right.
like Zach took a picture and there's like a fucking weird
Yeah.
light anomaly that's going on in the photo.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, okay, like I'm ready to experience something like that, and maybe it'll change my mind. But not once did I feel any type of way in any of the rooms.
No.
Like
no.
nothing.
No
You didn't
emotional.
feel like, and not even like, oh, I didn't feel a tug or anything, but like you didn't walk into a room and be like, this room feels weird.
I was kind of. My only concern is like that someone's gonna try to jump out and scare you, like a jump scare, like a haunted house kind of thing.
Right. But
That-
they don't do that. Yeah.
Well, the only time they did kind of do that was when we went through that room with all the clowns, but they didn't really
But
explain.
that was more of the window that popped open, right?
No, there was a guy in a clown suit following us.
Yeah. There's.
Oh, I didn't even see that.
You never saw that?
No,
No. When we got to
that was up towards the front.
Yeah,
Yeah.
when we got to the last hallway of that, there was a dude in a clown suit following us.
Oh, that's
That-
a little gimmicky.
That
but
was
I
the
didn't.
only gimmick throughout the whole thing, though.
Right, and then when our tour guide, she was like telling some story, and then boom, like she stomped her foot, and I was like, oh shit, like because the floor is wood and it's kind of hollow underneath, so it made
Yeah.
a loud
Yeah, that
fucking,
loud
like you
fucking
said, it's
echo.
really quiet. It was just like boom, and I was like, oh fuck,
Yeah.
and I was like, bitch, made me jump for a second.
Yeah, right. You jumped when they fucking whipped open that fucking bookcase, whatever the fuck you call it.
No, I
too.
didn't. I
yes,
just-
you did.
I just turned around
Yeah?
because I could
He
hear,
flinched a little.
I could hear the draft. I could hear a draft. I was like, oh, this is a door because I can hear the wind blowing through there. You don't hear wind blowing through a wall.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, there's a fucking room behind this or a door. And the next thing you know, a fucking whole wall opens, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
oh, okay.
Just whips open.
Like, I was expecting it.
Okay.
So other than that, other than her making me jump a little bit with her stomping the foot, or feeling like when we went down into that basement area, I was like, something's going to come out and scare us. Like, not a ghost, like someone's going to scare us, or something that they have set up is going to scare us.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't have any other type of weird feelings.
So you felt as normal, or I don't want to use the word comfortable.
You were
but
just like, I'm walking through this dumbass house right now.
just like you do now. So whatever level of comfort or normality that you feel right now, you felt walking through there.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that? What is
And then,
that?
and then when we were going down to the thing and they had the spirit box going, like, I feel like everyone's rushing to get through there, and I wanted to hang out a little bit and listen. Like, I want to hear, like,
I did and I didn't.
I
yeah,
want
no,
to hear something.
Right.
I want, like, if I would have heard something, then I'd be like, okay, that was kind of cool. But
So, that also kind of brings me back to is you've heard us say Peggy a couple times. Is there is this creepy doll named Peggy. The first time I went on that tour, it was a go in there. The same thing is make sure you say hi, make sure you say goodbye. When you
I almost didn't do it just to see what would happen.
motherfucker, like I would have said goodbye for you,
I kind of thought that you wouldn't, and I kind of hoped that you didn't.
which is fair.
I was like, hi, pig.
But so is the first time I went, it was you go into the room and you kind of stand there and look around. Not necessarily like this time. It was like, all right, you're gonna go in. It's just a walkthrough for the most part. Like you're not really. From what I felt like is there were more of the you're not supposed to stop. You're kind of just supposed to walk through really quick.
Yeah.
Oh,
Which I will say I was a little disappointed in that. This
I
time.
paused and I was like,
Did you look in her eyes?
Yeah.
Oh, you
Did you feel anything?
No, like so I was trying to get something. I was trying to feel something. And I'm just like, okay, let me look at this doll's eyes. Like, and then everyone's trying to get through, and we got that other group behind us too. And I'm like, okay, well, all right.
I will say it felt like we kind of got rushed a little towards the end.
Well, also,
we did spend almost 2 hours, and it's
That's
supposed
true.
to be an hour and 20.
yeah.
That's true.
So when that room particularly, okay, so you walk in that room, and there's a partition wall in the middle of the room. And in the corners is a pile of dolls. Also, there's a spirit box going in there. Now, for those of you who don't know what a spirit box is, basically it is a ongoing white noise / static. And apparently...
That one wasn't a spirit box, though. It was something else.
No, that was a translator box or some shit like
Yeah.
that.
She said,
Because she
though-
said it constantly sounds like gibberish or whatever
Yeah.
until the doll, Peggy, wants to speak, and then it says words or sentences or whatever.
So that is played on a loop. But
Yeah,
there are times...
It just sounds like... I'm going to try to find what it sounds like, so go ahead.
There are times, though, where there will be breaks in it where it is something different.
Yeah.
So the reason that they do that is apparently they try to keep ongoing sound around Peggy so that way she doesn't feel alone or something like that.
Something like that. That's why you're supposed to say hello and goodbye.
Yeah. So one of the things that happened to me in there, and again, it was the weird feeling. So my eyes, I walk in because if I'm not mistaken, I led that. I went in first,
Yeah,
right?
you went in first. I
So
was right behind you.
I see the stack of dolls in the corner, and I knew the Peggy story because I'd seen the episode of Ghost Adventure about the doll. And I see those, and then my eyes pan across Peggy into the dolls in the other corner. And there was this, as my eyes went to go back towards Peggy, and mind you, this is all happening in the span of 2 seconds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when my eyes go to pan back, there was again that weird, like, ooh, like that weird, like, I wish I could explain it to you what it is.
Well, it's like I said, it's almost like a twitch or like a flash of just like your vision, right?
The only thing that I can equate it to is when you know you're drunk and you do that thing where you look one way and then you look back the other and it's like
Too
whoosh.
fast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of how it felt. So I said, hi, Peggy. And then I looked, but I didn't look directly at her eyes. I more so looked at the forehead / chin, like kind of like that
Right.
T-zone of the face.
I looked more at like chin, like the body of the doll, and like kind of like around, but
Yeah.
not necessarily directly at the eyes.
Right.
Because they
And-
say don't look at her eyes.
Yeah, because the story behind Peggy is that apparently she can cause illness, and there's actually one account of a woman who came in contact with her, and they talk about this in the episode, and she experienced a heart attack,
Right.
and almost died.
Like immediately
Yeah,
when she saw her, right?
like immediately, right?
or touched the doll, like trying to pull it out or something or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And then that was so I saw that, and then I went back out, and then we went and stood in that hallway, and I was just like, "What the fuck was that? Like, why? What are these weird physical reactions that I'm getting? I don't understand."
Right.
So that was one of the weirder things. But I think the most sinister thing, like the darkest shit, and we'll talk about the murderabilia room, which is, by the way, super cool word,
Yeah.
is the Ed, what is it, Gacy? No,
Oh, you're talking about the prison room?
no, not the prison room, the cauldron.
Oh, the cauldron room? Yeah, that's where I had my little, we'll say, twitch and vision or whatever the fuck you want to
Okay,
call it.
give that rundown.
Because we were standing there, and you walk in, and it's kind of...
Tell the story of the cauldron. Tell people.
I
what
don't
the
even
cauldron-
quite remember what the cauldron is. All I remember is this guy fucking murdered
Gein.
people. Yeah. This guy
So
murdered
I
people and
remember
strung
what,
them up. Yeah, go
so
ahead,
it
keep going with the
was
story.
so this guy, and like he lost his mother or something, but I guess he wasn't all there mentally, so he went around digging up graves of recently buried females and like doing stuff with their bodies, like making a skin suit out of them to feel close to his mother and stuff.
Right.
And then one time they came into, I think it was a barn or something, and they found someone hanging upside down, and they were
Yeah,
Decapitated.
they were gutted
decapitated
and
and,
decapitated.
and cut open, and their guts were spilled down into like this cauldron thing.
Right.
Which, real quick, the room was designed as to be a barn,
Yeah.
and there was a second story, quote unquote, that you could look up into, and it showed like a person hanging.
Right. And the designers of that room are the interior designers of American Horror Story.
Yes.
They did,
Right.
they did make mention of that. So one thing, and Walden, I'll let you tell your story, but
No, you're good. Go ahead.
I just want people to understand the story behind this thing. So I was watching that episode on Ghost Adventures last night, specifically about that cauldron, and the owner was actually a guy by the name of Ed Gein, and he inspired the movie Psycho, also Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and there's one more he was the inspiration behind. Basically, long story short, like Toro said, he was digging up bodies, making lampshades. He made a belt
Human leather.
out of nipples.
he made a belt out of nipples. One of the things that was talked about in the show that they did not mention in the tour was the guys who helped move the cauldron. Whenever one of the people went there, he had made a doorbell out of a woman's nipple.
Yeah.
So the doorbell was a big old areola. One of those pepperoni nipples.
How big was that fucking doorbell?
So that was one of the things. And basically, it wasn't just the digging up the graves. He was also murdering people.
Yeah.
So lastly on this, and then we'll tell your story, is the people that cleaned out the barn after he was arrested, which, by the way, he ended up getting off because he was deemed insane.
Yeah.
He never served time for the crimes. All 5 people that cleaned out the garage and moved that cauldron all ended up dead within 18 months.
Yeah. Which
So-
I'll say the weirdest thing about that room was the actual piece of human leather that they had.
Yeah, they have a framed piece of human leather
That was what, chest, nipple, back, and neck, I think
Yeah,
they said?
I think it was from the back of the neck, down your shoulder, around the side, encasing some of the nipple, and then.
Oh, no,
part
there
of
was a full nipple,
Yeah.
not some of the nipple. There was a full nipple on there.
Yeah. The nipple, and then down some of the stomach, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
But
And
it's a significant piece of fucking leather.
you can see the blood stains still in the cauldron.
Yeah.
You can see where the difference in
They
the
had
color
the
of iron.
shovel that was hanging up on the wall.
Yep, that he used to use to dig up the graves.
Because what? They also had the picture of the brother who was taking a picture with the shovel in the cauldron. He was creepily smiling.
Yeah, like he thought it
The
was
thing I
funny.
didn't understand, what was with the 2-headed calf in the room?
Yeah.
It was just a weird
I know it's
mutation.
weird, but
yeah.
so throughout this, they also have taxidermy and all that too.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's just a little more weird crap going on. But in this, it was like, I don't even want to say like a Siamese, but it was like a calf that had like 2 faces.
It lived for 6 minutes,
Yeah. And then died.
and then they taxied.
So does that make it 12 minutes combined, or is it still just 6 minutes?
That's a good question.
I thought about that briefly in there, and I was like, that's a dumb question. I'm not going to ask.
So what did you feel in there? What happened to you?
So, like, we were kind of in the back of the room to where you could look up and you could see the fake hanging person.
Mm-hmm.
And all I remember is, like, I looked up, and they've got it planned as if it's like a thunderstorm or whatever. And I looked up, and there was just, like, the thunder, quote unquote, went with the lightning. And it was just like one of those, like you said, like those little, like just really quick.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that was weird. I don't know if it was just the way the light played or whatever, but it felt like something happened. And I was like, well, that's just weird. I'm going to just kind of ignore it.
I'm glad that I'm not the only one that felt that feeling. Because Torres' wife went with us. Did she say anything?
Was she freaked
Yeah,
out?
did
Did she
she-
have any
what was-
quote unquote experiences?
What was her feels afterwards?
No, she just thought it was cool. Like a cool thing, but
Does she believe in that stuff?
yeah, she's had like different like experiences and stuff, but she just thought it was like cool.
That was
That was
it.
it, yeah, nothing like
Because, I mean, what else was there that we saw? We saw there was the movie room, which had like different artifacts of clothing.
Yeah,
and
that was just like a
Michael
cool,
Jackson's death chair
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, that was cool. I'm just going to try and briefly, because we could talk about this for literally as long as we were in there.
Yeah.
Because they had the Hall of Taxidermy, which had like the vest of teeth.
Yeah, that
They
was
had
weird.
The haunted butt plugs.
Yeah, there was also,
That was
legit. There was a haunted butt plug.
Because we went into the room after that what was that one that had the fucking weird lady standing in there? The wax room or whatever.
Oh.
They were like, this person had a wax museum.
Uh-huh.
And one night they came in and all the heads, hands, and feet were still there, but the bodies of these wax things were just gone.
Yeah. That was from the Westchester house, wasn't it?
I don't remember.
That
but
had the Westchester Mystery Mansion fucking window in it, but that wasn't from there. That was
Okay.
somewhere else.
Yeah, that was weird.
Where we saw one of our old bosses' heads in wax. I mean, or at least that's what we think it was.
What about the murderabilia room? Now, this was kind of weird for us given our personal...
That's the one with the 2 mirrors, right?
No, the murderabilia room was the one with all the criminals.
Oh, the prison room.
Yeah, basically the prison
Where you
room.
walk in and it's literally the brightest house in the fucking entire, or the brightest room in the entire house.
Yeah, they have it lit like what would
With
be...
all the serial killer stuff. Like it's got, well, they just said just got El Chapo's boots.
El Chapo's boots, Ted Bundy's kit from the last murder he committed. With the rope, the trash bags,
John
the
Wayne
gloves.
Gacy's
ice
fucking
pick.
paintings and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, the fucking Charles Manson painting out of blood in his ashes.
Yeah.
yeah, that was pretty cool.
Like that was a cool room.
Yeah,
And then
Is-
they had that guy's foot
the
shavings.
foot scrapings.
yeah, that was weird.
I
don't know who
will
that
admit,
dude
I
was.
did appreciate the tour guide going, I don't know why we have his foot scrapings. I 100% believe he would take those, but why? I don't know.
Yeah, and she said that Zach will collect things and not really tell them why. He just puts certain things in
he's
places.
just like, and it's here.
One of the things that room tripped me out because of the quotes that they had.
Yeah, the actual quotes, from the murderers.
Yeah, some of the stuff that those guys say, talking about how taking a life is like feeling like you're God. The one from who's the clown guy? John
Wayne Gacy.
John Wayne Gacy. He said, "I was never arrested for murder. I was arrested for running a morgue without a license."
Yeah.
That just gave me goosebumps. like that's a fucking trip because he was I don't know if you guys know the story. John Wayne Gacy is the guy. What was the name? The clown?
Was it
Bobo?
Bozo?
Pogo?
Pogo?
Pogo. It was Pogo.
He's the guy who dressed up in the 70s and 80s as Pogo the clown, and he used to rape men and murder them. And but he also did like children's events and stuff like that.
Yeah, because he was part of some group or something.
Yeah,
Shriners,
some charity, something like that.
And then did you guys look at the shirt of that Ramirez guy?
Yeah,
he's
the one that
the Night Stalker.
Chopper.
Yeah,
is that the one?
No,
the one where he wrote on it, or
no, the one that was right next to that. His last name is Ramirez. He's known as the Night Stalker.
Oh yes, the black shirt.
Yeah, and he I forget what the exact quote was, but like he legitimately enjoyed and loved killing people.
Yeah,
like it was like I'll see if I can find the quote at some point in time, but
they have a lot of those like small things, like even the Kevorkian room, where it's got his van in it, where they thought it was believed to be destroyed, and then you're looking at it and you're like, oh, this is interesting stuff. Like
200 people, 130 confirmed.
130 confirmed, and then they show the video of his lawyer talking. He's like, it's well over 200.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? Well over 200 people for assisted suicide. It's cool.
And if you don't know about Dr. Kevorkian, he's the guy in the early 90s who was assisting people in suicide. I basically known as like the original angel of death.
Yeah.
So yeah, man.
What about even that room that had the deathbed set up where the guy used to torture them, and it had the log, and that was how he got fucking confirmed.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
where it said like 8 o'clock butt fuck. Like
yeah. So okay, so I don't quite remember the killer's name. As this guy out of Kansas. And basically, Zach has a room that it's set up exactly the way that this dude used to
torture and kill
male prostitutes,
sodomize, like all kinds of things.
So the way that this guy used to kill him is he would take the box that lights up neon signs, and then he would plug two. What would you call them?
So they were syringes, medical syringes, into the skin, and then attach alligator clips to them, and fucking electrocute them.
7,000 volts.
He had it hooked up to
77,000 volts is what I thought he said.
Oh, okay.
It was like one of those things that run neon signs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so here's the gross but trippy part. Zach has the actual bed from the crime scene that still has the dried shit on it.
Yeah.
And you can see it plain as fucking day. The dried shit.
That was the first thing I said when I walked in. I was like, ew, there's shit on that bed.
Yeah.
And it's like thinking it's fake. And then you're like, oh, that's real.
Right. Now, I know that all three of us, again, due to our line of work, have seen and experienced dead bodies.
Yeah.
But if you don't know, if you've never been around that or seen that, when you die, one of the first things you do is you shit yourself.
Yeah.
So for that to still be on the bed, he had the actual post, because what this guy used to do was he would take the victim's arms, tie them behind their back, and then stick this wood post between their arms and their back.
So they couldn't bring their arms forward.
But also, if you think about it, when the jolts hit and your body tenses up, it's forcing you to bow out like that. You know
well, it also said that stick was used to sodomize some of the people.
And this guy, what he did was
that thing. Oh my God.
God.
That was like the size of like an axe handle.
It was girthy.
Right. Like that thing was definitely gaping people.
Right. Leaving a few pink socks, we'll just say. Yeah, and that dude was fucking insane because he would take logs as he's doing this. Now, not the logs left on the bed. I'm talking about actual timestamps.
Like timestamps of like, this is what I did. This is what I did. Yeah. This is what I did.
It goes to show you how fucking crazy.
Some people are fucking nuts, bro.
Fucking insane, dude.
You want to hear a quote from the Richard Ramirez guy?
Say it.
Sure.
So he said, "We've all got the power in our hands to kill, but most people are afraid to use it. The ones who aren't afraid control life itself."
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of these people get like a god complex about it. And that's the same thing with Ted Bundy. And I think his quote is when you're looking.
What's funny is, sorry, not to cut you off, is did you watch the Zac Efron fucking Vile, Evil, Gruesome, or whatever the fuck it's called?
I didn't.
So I felt that was good, but it was weird because it portrayed him in like a oh, well, he could be innocent. And it's weird because, like, after knowing, you're like, no, Ted Bundy was a fucking piece of shit. Like, fuck that guy. And then you watch something like that and you're like, oh, well, you know, like, he's probably like a nice guy.
Well, that was
and it's
his
like,
thing.
That blows my mind. But even, like, you could portray something one way and it was 100% different.
Yeah, that was his biggest thing, is how charismatic and how nice he was.
Yeah.
People the people that didn't know, and before all of this came down, there was a lot of people that were like, he's one of the nicest guys in the world. I just don't understand.
Yeah, like, there's no way that guy would fucking
Yeah.
rape and kill and fucking do all this shit.
But the thing about him, too, is if I'm not mistaken, and if anybody out there knows this, or if you guys know this, correct me if I'm wrong, he's the one that really started the study of the serial killer psychology. It was because
so.
he was so, like you said, on the surface, he was so polar opposite of what he really was. That's what made him so evil. And this isn't just bang, you're dead. He wasn't just shooting people.
No.
He was fucking murdering, like mutilating people.
So one of the crazy things too is if you watch that Netflix, I'm not going to call it a documentary, but remake or whatever, the story of, is they kind of play it out that whole time where, like, you're kind of like, what is going on? Like, I'm confused. Like, this guy seems nice. But at the very end, like, it's somebody who goes and sees him in prison is like, just be fucking real with me. And whether it actually happened this way or not, like, she asks, like, how did you kill so-and-so or whatever? And he's like, I didn't, like, blah, 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 blah. And then, like, on the window, he wrote, I don't know how it was written, but he wrote hacksaw. And then, like, at the very, like, and to me, when you see that, you're like, this motherfucker, like, he's acting like he's all innocent, but the whole, and I mean, I'm sure he probably did that the whole time. He's like, no, man, like, I didn't do that. Why would I do that? That's crazy. And then you're like, but he actually did. Like,
Yeah, psychopath.
like, that's crazy for people to wholeheartedly believe, like, I never did that. What are you talking about?
Psychopath.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I fucking did it, and I'll do it again.
Yeah.
Bop, bop, bop.
It's like that. It's like that meme of Goofy where he's drawn all dumb. He's like, "I'll fucking do it again."
Yeah,
Like, yeah, dude. Like, dude. I mean, that's a psychopath.
that's crazy.
for you.
That's why I don't know if I could ever, like, do, like, real research or, you know, interview people like that.
You start getting into these people's heads, and you start really seeing what makes them fucking tick, man. And it's kind of like that Ramirez guy said, where there is a level that we all can go
Right.
to.
I control life,
But I
because
think-
I choose to.
Yeah,
Like,
and
that's fucking nuts.
that's a God complex in of itself. But I think that, you know, and this is kind of on a different level here, you do have to be capable and willing to go to great lengths of violence, but more so than not, it needs to be in the name of good.
Right.
But these people choose to use it in another way, and they can do that, look themselves in the mirror, and feel justified.
That's fucking.
And
It blows my mind.
it's
He
fucking crazy.
said everybody has got good and evil in them. I'd like to be 100% evil, but I can't.
Who said that?
That guy Ramirez.
Oh,
Yeah.
same guy. Okay, sorry.
That dude's on a whole fucking other level too.
That guy's.
And I mean,
I don't, you can't even say that guy is like every one of them. Like all of these dudes who are like, nope, this is completely justified. This is fine.
yeah, like this is
The fucking the dog in the house where it's on fire. This is fine.
yeah. This is fine.
Yeah. You're like, what? Like,
Yeah.
how does it's crazy because you want to, like, to me, is studying criminal justice when I was going through college is that you learn, like, the nature versus nurture thing. And it's like, I wholeheartedly believe that how people think is all nurture. Like, you brought up, you believe this because, you know, you were taught that way. But then, like, there's people who are like, the parents are good, the parents are fine, and then this guy's just a fucking nut job. And you're like, well, it has to be nature. Like, it's so weird how that argument going back and forth on that is you could see certain exemptions to the rules.
Yeah, and then it makes you wonder, well, why?
Yeah, like what? Like, was there a chemical imbalance? Was that because
Right.
that would be that's not anything you can control.
And I've heard theories in regards to this, and I'm honest to God, I'm not trying to turn the conversation, but it's in this kind of along the same line when it comes to. I'm kind of scared to say this, but when it comes no, seriously, when it comes to homosexuality, they said that I've heard theories where they believe that homosexuality is a way of naturally thinning the human population. It's nature's way of slowing down reproduction, where there's all of a sudden, because like you said, nature versus nurture, what we naturally do without thought.
being attracted to men
Right.
or a woman, if you're a
woman.
woman,
Right.
that's not something like I'm pretty sure your parents aren't like, you're supposed to like a girl.
Yes, it's not learned behavior. Almost everything that we do as human beings is learned behavior. There's
Right.
only 5 things that we do that is unlearned behavior. That's hunger, thirst, sleep, and sex. So I apologize, 4.
What about handedness?
Handedness?
Like left-handed versus right-handed. That's just, what are you better with? Like,
Sure. You're
you
not
know,
taught that. Okay.
Right, you're not taught that, but that's something that's just happens.
I'm going more along the lines
No,
of,
I know, I'm just
of
throwing it out
natural
there.
of natural desires. You're not taught to be hungry, you're not taught to be thirsty, you're
Right.
not taught to be sleepy, you're not taught to be horny. These things just happen. And here's the other thing too. They all have to be satisfied. They have to be to create some form of balance within the brain and the body. So when you take something that's as natural as not taking a life or choosing to align yourself emotionally and sexually with the same sexes that you are, that goes against, and I'm doing air quotes if you can't see this, nature, it brings the question, and by no means am I trying to say that gays and murderers are in the same category. I'm just using
I don't know if anybody was thinking that.
it's 2020, dog. I don't know. But I'm just saying, when you start talking about, like you said, nature versus nurture, why is it that some people just go off that path and have this desire to take life?
Right.
And to not just bang your dead. We're talking slitting throats,
Right.
decapitating
I'm going
people.
to tie you down, and I'm going to do, what was that thing that used to be called? The 100 cuts?
Death by a thousand cuts.
There you go. Death by a thousand cuts.
Yeah. Or feeling the power, or enjoying feeling the power of watching the life leave out of someone's eyes.
That's fucking...
Like
how does that anywhere come relative to what's going on in your life?
How do you get gratification from that?
Yeah.
That's I mean, it's a trick.
It's got to be some sort of mental.
Because, I mean, I can also see how, like, I was bullied as a kid, and now I've become more powerful. I can do something
Yeah, but that's
about this.
psychological trauma.
That's
Right.
a cause and effect.
Right. That's
You see
not
what I'm
like
saying?
that's not like this kid was never bullied. He was always nice, and then all of a sudden he's a fucking serial killer. Like,
Yeah,
there are those where you're like, wait, what happened?
It's like Dexter. We've all seen Dexter, where
But Dexter went through a traumatic experience.
That's
as
what
a
I'm
kid.
saying. There's a cause and effect. There was something happen.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
that changed the way that he saw an outlook. In his Dexter's obsession specifically was blood in of itself. It was just blood. He was, as he always uses the line, which is, "I was born in blood."
Yeah.
But when you have people like Ted Bundy or John Wayne Gacy or whatever, and they just have this desire to take life and to hurt and injure, and defile people is
Right.
the crazy part.
Like, I'm going to sodomize you.
And
That
they
has
don't
nothing to do
see anything wrong with it.
No.
That's
No.
the part that's
Right.
that's the part that lets them keep on going.
Right.
They're-
And to like wholeheartedly agree or like argue, like, no, I didn't do that sometimes, where they're like, why would you think I would do that? But I fucking did.
Is it crazier to deny it, or is it crazier to just embrace it and say, "Yeah, I fucking did"?
I think it's almost crazier to embrace it. Because
Right.
I feel like that comes back to like the nurture thing, is you don't want to get in trouble for something you did. So you're going to try and deny. Like, no, I didn't do that. Are you joking me? But then you got the guy who's like, I'll fucking do it again.
Yeah.
Like, that's all I think of is like,
There's still to your point. There's still a part of you that has self-preservation.
right.
Whether that's your life or your freedom, there's
Yeah.
still a part of you that is trying to quote unquote save yourself. You know what I mean? But when you're just outwardly like, yeah, I carved that bitch's eyeballs out with a spoon. Fuck you. Like, and I mean, that's
Ate him like Pop Rocks, motherfucker.
and that's the other thing too about that Ed Gein guy. They believe that the reason he was draining the entrails and the blood into the pot is because he would boil the internal organs and he would eat them.
That's fucking nuts.
Dude, I'm telling you, people are fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like, what's
this
scary?
whole world's crazy, but
I mean, this is a very, very small percentage of the population we're talking about here. But
So here's another quote by Richard Ramirez.
you're in love with this dude right
No,
now.
I just have all his quotes
it's
pulled
because
up.
he's Mexican.
It's related to
He's got his Mexican serial killer hero.
It's related to what you just said. It said, one time I told this lady to give me all her money. She said no. So I cut her and pulled her eyes out.
Yeah, this is the quote.
I would do someone in and take a camera and set the timer so I could sit them up next to me and take a picture together.
What the fuck?
Yeah, man.
I'm just saying, is this is that mentality, that, like, where does that come from?
So the demonic stuff and all the creepy artifacts, that gave me a and there's no other way to say this, a spiritual feeling, almost like a
Spiritual boner.
an existential, an existential, like an unquantifiable emotion, something that is not tangible. I can't quite describe it. When it comes to the murder room, the psychopaths and things like that, that is understandable. That's noticeable. I understand and know what that is. That's a human being taking another human life, and that affects me more so emotionally and mentally. Would you agree?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's more fair.
Okay.
Because I mean, let's get into the star attraction of the whole fucking thing too. Is the debug box?
Yes.
Was that it? Do you think that was a star attraction?
Oh yeah, that has literally been claimed as to be the most haunted item on the planet.
Yes, there's 10 of these things. Now let's give a little backstory here. So a Dybbuk.
Dybbuk. I don't know why.
It sounded like
Yeah.
I
goofy
always
over
wanted
there.
to say it all stupid. It's called Dybbuk.
Yeah.
That's exactly how you said it.
Yeah, let's go with Dybbuk. So a Dybbuk box is something that was created by some Jewish woman. Was it a Jewish woman during World War II?
So hold on real quick. It's actually a wine box which is said to be haunted by a Dybbuk. A Dybbuk is a restless, usually malicious spirit believed to be able to haunt and even possess living things. But yeah, it's pretty much a box that they captured a fucking demon in, is what I'm going to say.
Now, there are 10 of these things on Earth, okay? Only 10. Zak Bagan owns 2.
Yeah, and on a scale of 1 to 10, he has number 1 and number 10.
Right.
And they're both in the same fucking room.
They know where the other, the other 6 of them are in the world, but there's 2
There's some that are missing.
Yeah, there's at least 2 that are missing.
There's 2 that are missing. No one knows where they are. So Walden has a story actually where the first time he went, the way that they store this box is in a glass case in the middle of this room. And if you also don't know, a Dybbuk box inspired the movie The Conjuring and The Possession.
The Possession.
Right.
Not The Conjuring. That was the dolls.
Oh, okay.
The Possession was...
The Possession.
The Possession was that.
The Possession is where those events were inspired from. So the first time Walden went, why don't you go ahead and tell that story? What happened?
So the first time we went, they were talking about how they line around it with kosher salt and with sage to kind of ward off with all the energies and stuff going on there. But what they were saying is that you could see where it looks like something had been messing with it. Now again, this whole thing is encompassed in a giant, I don't know if it's plexiglass or whatever, but it's a glass container where there's no breeze, there's nothing being able to touch it, there's nothing going on in there. And they were like, and if you look, it looks like something has touched or dragged or moved the salt inside.
Right.
And I remember looking at that, and you're like, what the fuck? Like, is that showmanship or is that whatever? And they were like, no, that's like, it's legitimately moving on its own. Like, we haven't touched it. We could show you the footage of everything. Like, nobody's opened it. And it's just slowly manipulated salt and sage and other things that are going on in that box. Now, that was something I was like, that's really cool. This time around, it looks like they've kind of fixed it or redone it or who knows what the fuck they've done.
Right.
But it was solid and it looked like it hadn't been fucked with. And I was like, oh. But I will also say is last time we went in, so it's got 2 cabinet doors that kind of open up on it.
Right.
One of them was kind of creaked open a little bit. So you can kind of see inside. This time they were both closed.
Yeah.
And I felt, I don't want to say gypped this time because, you're like, I want to see what's inside. Like, and it tells you obviously the room before. There's like a rosebud, a couple pennies. There's the ashes of some lady. There's a stone that says something. Like,
Yeah.
there are things in the box, but you don't get to see what's in it. And I was like, the last time I was in that room, I was like, I don't want to fuck with this at all. I'm not going to try and do it.
Right.
But this time I was like, I want to see what's inside though. Like, why can't I feel like I'm missing something?
Yeah. Yeah. Torres, I mean, what did, of all, one of the most notoriously haunted things in the world. And also, too, this is another thing where they had played during the presentation camera footage of things and moving around in that room, light anomalies, things like that. Anything for you at all? What do you think about that?
For it being quote unquote one of the most haunted things in the world,
Yeah.
and that he has 2 of them in there. That one
Well,
was
you also got to think is when they think about this, he is getting sent shit all the time. Like the Devil's Rocking Chair that was also there. Like, there are things that people are just sending him. So it's not like he was just like, oh, I'm just walking down the street and found this fucking box. Like,
Right.
he's done his research and tried to find it. So go ahead.
I don't know. It wasn't really as entertaining as the other rooms. Like, I get the backstory because it was someone that escaped one of the Nazi concentration camps,
Yeah.
and right, that's who it belonged to.
Yeah, that's where it
Yeah.
began.
Right.
So it says that it was belonged to a survivor of the Holocaust in Poland named Havila, who escaped to Spain and blah, 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 blah. There's a bunch of stuff. But so it also says, upon opening the box, he found that there were 2 1920 pennies, a lock of blonde hair with a cord, a lock of black and brown hair bound with a cord, a small statue engraved with the Hebrew word shalom, a small golden wine goblet, 1 dried rosebud, and a single candle holder with 4 octopus-shaped legs.
There you go.
That's what's inside the box.
So, like Walden said, I wanted to see what actually was in the box, even though there's a list of things outside the room of what's in the box.
Right,
I still wanted to see.
You wanted to see what it looked like, right?
Yeah, and the other smaller box, the one that's supposed to be like the roots, because like the whole outline of all the Dybbuk boxes were like in the shape of a tree.
Yeah, it resembles
Tree of
the tree of life.
Right.
Yeah.
So the one on the bottom, it had like a base to it that looked like roots,
Which
and
that
then
was, I was expecting that box to be bigger. There's no way it was bigger than my fist. Like,
right,
that
it
box
was a tiny
small.
box.
Yeah.
And then I guess all the other boxes are, I don't know if that's a representation of how they're supposed to be buried or if that's just a representation in general of the idea around the boxes. But the way it was illustrated was the box with the roots on the bottom and then all the other boxes staggered all the way to the top.
Right.
So I wanted to see what was inside these boxes. So I don't know. I didn't really get anything out of the room. Like, I don't know.
Just
I
nothing.
think that was one of the least interesting rooms actually out of all the other ones.
Wow, really?
Really?
Yeah.
Man.
There wasn't really anything visual. Like I'm looking at this wine cellar thing, like a wine. That's what it is.
It's
right?
a wine box.
A
Yeah.
wine box. And I'm like, okay.
And not your cheap wine boxes that you used to drink in college. No, we're
Right.
talking about old fashioned.
And then on the back there was an inscription that was, I forgot what it said, but it was written in Hebrew.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I already
then
closed the window, but yeah, it's.
and then it was written backwards.
Yeah.
Which I don't
I guess
understand.
it's hard to write or whatever, some shit like that.
I don't understand what the point of it written backwards was. They didn't really explain it, but one of the things that they talked about related to the box in that room or whatever is that Post Malone went there.
Yeah.
And
while they were in there,
and then
fucking,
while they were in there, Zach put his hand on top of the case surrounding the Dybbuk box.
they took the glass off.
They took the
He
glass
tou-
off.
Oh, they did?
He
Okay.
touched the
Yeah.
box.
So he touched it, and then Zach, I guess, got scared or had some sort of
Yeah, he said
experience.
some experience, because like you see him, he touches it, and then like he kind of acts like he got scared, like he saw something, and he backs up against the wall.
Right.
And like you see Post Malone, who's kind of like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on?
Right.
Like what's happening? And he tries to leave the room, and then he's like, Zach, come on, and he fucking like touches him on the shoulder, and he's able to pull him out. But I guess Zach was like crying and like doing some weird shit.
So then, like, what actually happened to Post Malone after this experience is he had a plane emergency where 2 of the tires blew out on the runway. And then a few days later, his old house was reportedly broken into. And then a week after that, he was involved in a car crash.
Yeah.
Coincidence?
Maybe.
Maybe.
But it's also hard to believe when it's like, I'm not going to say hard to believe because there's no way to trace it back to that, but it's like, what kind of luck do you have of after you had this weird experience that
Tori's
then-
luck. He's got the
Right.
worst luck of everyone.
Right, but then you're having, plane problems. You're having fucking
Yeah, but, like,
car getting into an accident.
When you're like a celebrity and you're flying around all the time.
Okay, no, we've had the discussion about you're more likely as a celebrity on a private plane to have an incident or something like that. I'm not even saying so much that, but his house getting fucking broken
It's
into.
his old house. So
but in the video it said he lived there at the time.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he probably sold.
And
that
then a
house
car
and-
crash.
And a
I
car
mean-
crash. That's a pretty significant thing to happen.
And we've
within-
talked about this. You're more likely to get in a car crash than something happen to you on an airplane.
Right,
So
but all 3 of those to happen within the course of 2 weeks, probably. Is that what it was?
Something
It's like that's.
I don't know.
Okay, what are the odds of that? If you
I-
want to break that down,
I just don't think that. I mean, and I'm not trying to change your mind, Torres. If it's how you feel, it's how you feel, and more power to you. But some of these events are so coincidental and so odd, and not to mention the camera footage that they run in there of the things that happened. That to me,
But to me, like, who is to say it's not staged?
no. See, that's the part that bothers me. Is where you think that
right? You almost become skeptical in the whole thing.
Where you start believing that or thinking that it's fake or that someone's running game on you. Like that's the part I don't like.
Well, that's because you can't prove to me that it's not staged.
Yeah,
But you can't prove that it's staged either.
It's just like watching a scary movie.
You really believe that they're sitting here trying to stage
Like Post
this
Malone
stuff?
came into town. He's like, hey, I want you to act like you had some fucking weird experience. Then I'm going to have the tires blow out on my fucking plane.
No, I'm not saying that. That's
Then I'm going to force a fucking car accident and a home invasion. Like,
I'm not saying that those things aren't likely. Like, those things are likely. It's not impossible for those things to happen. I agree that those things did actually happen to him, and I'm not saying that it's something that's impossible that could happen. Like, you believe that could happen to someone, right? Like, you guys can agree that
Sure,
could happen to someone.
right.
yeah,
It's not
happens
impossible.
to Tori all the time.
It's
Like,
not. It's not unheard of.
It's
Right.
not unheard of. But then to say that, oh well, they staged it because he
Okay,
did
so
this.
like you said, they have all these videos playing before you go into one of their exhibits, right? Okay, so then they show the one with Post Malone before we go in there. Who's to say now that Zach didn't stage this whole thing, that he's not acting when that happened to him? Who's to say that? How do you know? Can you prove to me that it actually happened? Aside from the video, which it looks like something is happening to him, but can you prove to me that something did happen to him other than him showing you a video or him telling you that it happened to him? You can't prove it to me. You cannot.
No, but and now again, I'm not saying you don't have the right to be like, whatever, still don't believe, but to go almost in the complete opposite direction and be like fake, and they're
Fake.
trying to make it fake.
Yeah, that's the part that bothers
This guy, Zak Bagans, makes his living and his whole career revolving around proving that ghosts exist. Why not continue it? There's other people that believe in
But
that
for
kind
what
of
he
stuff
already
also.
has, what's the point of?
And
Because that thing is already one of like the top tourist attractions we have here. What would be the point in him?
destroying his legacy.
Yeah, continuing to make these things up, like where like they showed the people passing out in the rooms,
And
like,
that's the thing. It's one of those things that if it is in fact made up, you are taking that to the grave. You are not letting anyone know that this whole thing, your whole career, your whole success has been revolved around a sham. You are not going to let anyone know ever, ever, ever.
No, but okay, no, I'm not even saying like Post Malone, but they have the videos of like just regular people who just pass out and have all these fucking weird
Yes,
things.
but how do you know that's not staged? Is what I'm
Because
saying.
these, of course, you know these motherfuckers are going to say
I
something.
I get a group of fucking 10 people like, hey, I'm gonna give you guys each $100. You guys are gonna come with me, and you're gonna pretend like you passed out, and we're gonna record it and say that you passed out due to some supernatural thing happening to you.
Right, but you could also take those same people that he paid, quote unquote, and then TMZ could be like, "Hey, I want to hear your story, and if it's fake, let us know. We'll pay you $100,000 because
It's gonna-
TMZ is going to make that."
No,
You know what I
You
mean?
believe people would take that secret to the grave for $100?
In this day and age,
You're full of shit.
with social
There's
media
no fucking way.
and all the exploits and all that and the backdoor ways that people create fucking Reddit profiles and everything, that's how a lot of this information gets out too. Is
QAnon's getting a hold of it.
yeah, like I don't know. I mean, like I said, I don't think we're not going to convince him otherwise. That's his feeling on it. I just think it's interesting to take, because you have three totally different experiences.
Right.
I'm gonna be real with you. I was scared. I did everything, but besides looking in that fucking mirror.
That was pretty funny. So they say if you look in this mirror and stare yourself dead in the face for 10 seconds, you may or may not see like some shadow or something else coming around you or whatever, right? Mm-hmm. And they were like, "Do you want to try it?" It's like, "Yeah, sure, I'll try it." I stared, and it's like, how long is 10 seconds? Like, I've been staring at myself for a while. I want to see something, but I don't.
Yeah.
Like, Torres was like, dumb, stupid, look at my face.
Yeah.
Too much face.
Yeah.
And fucking walked by, and Tori did not even blink at it. He
Nope.
was like, right by it. Fuck
Walk
that
right
thing.
past that shit. I ain't doing that. So whatever. Fuck you. It was.
The only one in the group that didn't do it, by the way.
It was.
Yeah.
It was.
and there was a kid with us.
Yep.
There
I
was
don't
a
care.
child.
Fuck that
He
kid.
was a man, baby.
And their plane's probably gonna crash on the way back to New York.
Wow. Wow.
Anyway, all right. Any post issues once you got home? Any odd feels? Anything like that?
Nope, because
No?
you already know, as I said, I was going to take the precautions. My girlfriend met us at the door and saged me and Palo Santo'd me and
Yeah.
whatever the fuck all that stuff actually does, but I'm not taking that chance.
Torres, you said you slept like a baby, huh?
Yeah, so
He got choked out by a demon, slept like a
no,
baby.
so the only thing that I don't know would say happened, I guess, I don't know. I was laying there in bed and I had my eyes closed and I'm thinking like, oh, okay, like I'm thinking about all the stuff we saw. It's like, oh, that was pretty cool. I'm like, oh, that thing was kind of creepy looking. I was like, oh, okay, well, that's enough thinking. It's time to go to bed and I just want to sleep.
Man,
he was like, I want to see the basement.
yeah.
Like,
I did. I wanted to stay in that basement so I can hear something because like.
is it crazy that we were in there for 2 hours, but I still felt like we were rushed?
Oh, we didn't see any. We probably didn't see. We probably saw 10% of that place.
Yeah, I wanted to spend more time, but
I'd say we were probably closer to like 40% because you walked around and you could see. I mean, it's a fucking standard house. I mean, when you're going, okay, each artifact, there's no way we saw more than 10% of the artifacts, but the house wise, you saw a majority of the house.
Sure.
maybe, I don't know, because they had curtains that would close, and
Yeah.
now it's like you're in this other exhibit, but you're right next door to this other exhibit that you were in, but now there's a curtain there.
Yeah, it's
And
like
the-
when we showed them the haunted butt plugs.
And
Right.
they close things because remember with the Devil's Chair when they first opened that exhibit, they were having people become emotionally ill, or not emotionally, but physically ill walking into it, including crew members that couldn't keep it together,
They said
bursting
they're
out into tears,
crying or whatever.
Yeah, they were just crazy. And they played a video clip from. It's actually one of the first ever audio recorded exorcisms, real exorcisms. So that was Torres is doing the air quotes.
Air quotes.
That was one of the ones.
No, so here's what I was gonna say. So when we went down to the basement and the spirit box was going, and I couldn't find, I don't even know what the other thing was called, the one that was talking gibberish or whatever.
That was in that dark corner.
Right. So I'm a musician, so I'm listening and stuff. Right. So I'm listening to that spirit box, and to me it sounds like it's on a loop. I can hear where it loops because I'm listening. I'm like, okay, I want to hear if this thing's like.
Well, they said most of those were on a loop.
No, they said it. They said it's not on a loop.
No,
they said
the spirit boxes make that.
right, but it's on a loop because I can hear where it loops. It's a recording.
So you believe that's fake?
I'm telling you, it's
no
on a loop.
way.
It's not an actual spirit. Or if that's all a spirit box is supposed to do is make that noise, then yes, it was making that noise, but it's on a loop.
I'm almost positive they said it's on kind of like a loop until the spirit or whatever breaks it, and then you hear what it says.
And then the other thing that was talking gibberish, I wanted to stay in there a little bit longer so I can hear.
You should have.
When it loops. I just felt like I was being rushed, but I wanted to hear.
I will say is I feel like we slow played the first part because when we went into the first room, it's like, okay, they kind of talked and told you everything about everything, and it was cool. And then you went into the Western room, and they were like, okay, we're going to spend a little bit more time in here. And then, okay, we got a little bit more time. I feel like she said that quite a few times during the beginning, and I was like, no, bitch, like, get us to the good shit. Like,
Yeah.
Like, you could have been like, hey, go down there. You're going to be down there for however long you fucking want.
Nope.
Like, like down into the basement.
In the basement.
But she was like, go down, walk through, walk around, and then come back. And that's, like, I feel like I listen to that and I go, okay, I'm literally just going to walk down, walk around, because it's not supposed to be like a hangout, like, let me see what I can fucking find out or anything like that. Now, not that I wanted to, but at the same time is just like that little bit, like, of, let me just kind of stand here for like 15, 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And just take everything in.
Yeah.
I feel like we probably had the ability to do that, but at the same time is
We didn't.
still it's not even like, okay, go through and get done. It's we'll go down at your own pace, but but at the same time you still feel like, all right, but come on, we got other things to see.
I did feel a little rushed. Like, same thing. I wanted to hang out down there, maybe ask a question, see if I get an answer.
Yeah, that would be
Like,
cool.
that's what I wanted to do.
But at the same time, I'm not fucking with it.
Is there any part of you that feels like it was a fight or flight response in your brain? That there was, like you said, like, I want to be here, but I don't.
No, I wanted to stay there.
You did.
I wanted to.
What about you?
No, I never got that. But I like, again, when you're telling me that it's a walkthrough exhibit, that's not a hangout and bullshit type thing. Where if they'd have been like, because like I said, it's the first time we went I went with other people, and they were like, you're gonna go into the Peggy room, and fuck it.
Yeah.
Like, just make sure you say hi, make sure you say bye, and whenever you're done, you're done.
Yeah.
And because we were in there. And, like, I was like, okay, this is kind of creepy. Like, you heard that little gibberish machine going or whatever.
Yeah.
And then we had some fucking idiot who was like, hey, Peggy, "You fucking feeling good today?" And I was like, "Okay, I'm out. Like, I'm done. Like, I don't need that." But like that, it was like, all right, go in. And it's when you have people behind you, you feel rushed. You're like, okay, I don't want to fucking sit here for too long.
That's how I felt.
Yeah.
Like,
I get
Like,
that.
I almost wish. Now, granted, we were only a group of 7, but I almost feel like just let us go in as a group of 4, so we can all kind of, we can all take it in at one time. Like, we're going at our pace, not, I want to make sure these people see it.
yeah,
too.
like I could have skipped the Western room. I could have skipped the Titanic, or no, what was that?
The sea room.
The sea room. I could have skipped that. I could have skipped that room where they had the dirt and the staircase. Or whatever.
That was kind of
From
cool.
the
just
demon
for
house.
Yeah,
the
I could
demon
have
house where they had
skipped that.
but the video for that was kind of cool to me.
And
Yeah.
the one where the guy carved all those fucking like circus things.
Yeah,
I
that
could have
that's
skipped
in-
that.
But see, it's not just a haunted museum, even though it says it. Is they say it's an oddities museum,
Yeah,
and
it's
they
just
said
weird
that
shit.
this guy just carved this fucking little circus, and it
Yeah.
took him 10 years to
Yeah,
make.
like,
Now,
just
granted,
show-
I understand what you mean, but it also shows off that they had all those Barnum and Bailey circus tickets.
Mm-hmm.
It had the other clown shit going on, so I can see how it ties in. But I also 100% believe is, do I really need to see this little fucking flea circus thing going on? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
show me the cool shit.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let me go back down to the basement so I can try to communicate or
Yeah.
whatever. Like, I don't
Right.
know.
Well, guys, I think overall it was definitely one of the coolest things I've ever done.
Absolutely, I would 100%
No,
suggest
it wasn't terrible. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's better than a lot of the like haunted houses I've been to.
Oh fuck yeah, way better. But
Yeah.
haunted houses in and of themselves, like those walkthrough where people are jumping out at you, you pay $30 for a fucking 4-minute walkthrough.
Right.
Fuck that, dude.
Right.
Like,
You might get scared. You might not.
when we went to that last year, how many times did we legitimately jump?
The only time
Zero.
I won't even say jump is when the fucking dude had like the fake hand and like touched the ankle. And I'm just like, who the fuck is touching my
Yeah,
foot? Like,
reached out of the floorboard.
not even like scared, but like legitimately angry.
Yeah, I prefer more of the real stuff. It's if you guys ever come to Vegas, I highly recommend it. It's not cheap. It's gonna run if it's a couple or a group. It's gonna run you $60 a person or so. But it's definitely worth it, especially considering the amount of time. Like one thing that we have here that I think sucks is Shark Reef. Shark Reef
yeah,
sucks, and it's like you could walk through Shark Reef in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's like
I feel
30.
like there's a lot of things nowadays that you don't get your bang for your buck.
Yeah.
This is okay, yeah, you're paying $55 or whatever after taxes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're in there for an hour to 2 hours, but you're seeing a whole bunch of shit, so like you might feel rushed, but you're like, this shit is fucking sick. Like like I never would have thought that Jack Kevorkian's van would have been cool, but like you're looking inside like, oh, what is that? What is that?
Yeah.
Let me see. I want to
Yeah.
see things.
And
like you feel super engaged at all times.
You spent that money, you spent that amount of time, and you still didn't see everything.
Oh, absolutely.
And that's what I like. I already feel
like when we walk through that taxidermy hallway where it has all the shit on the thing, like the tooth vest.
Yeah.
Like they were just like, oh look, here's a tooth vest, and you're like walking by, like what?
Wait
Like
a minute.
hold on, tell me about that.
Yeah.
Like what was that?
You're not just gonna speed past a vest completely made out of teeth. Like what do you mean? Like,
Why are these butt plugs down here? Like what is this thing? Like,
Yeah.
you're just pointing at shit, and because that's what I remember we walked past, I was like, holy shit, there's butt plugs. Tora saw him. You happened to already be in the room or whatever, and she was like, oh yeah, there's butt plugs. And I was like, what the fuck does that mean? Like
Yeah.
what's the story behind those?
Right.
Like I want to know the story behind everything.
Yeah. So there's already a desire, at least in me, like I could already see, like I would definitely go back. I want to go back, which that kind of creeps me out. Why do I want to go back?
No,
I don't know.
it was like when you guys brought it up, I was like, fuck yeah, let's go.
Yeah.
Like I'm down.
Yeah.
And it's not even like yes, I saw a whole bunch of the same shit, but at the same time it's like, oh, I saw shit I didn't see the first time.
Yeah.
I've heard different stories because I mean obviously each fucking
Tour guide.
is gonna have different things to tell you, which I think is super cool as well.
Yeah. So good times. I think we're a little bit up against it here, guys. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We're going to go ahead and give a breakdown of OctoBeerFest. See what you guys thought about the Sierra Nevada.
Okay, well, first of all, whoever that was is wrong. This is not better than Sam Adams.
No?
No, it's not. It's not bad, but it is good. It's not like where I'm like, fuck you, you're
So it's not like, oh my god, how fucking dumb are you?
No,
You're like,
it's not
okay,
like-
it's not better, but it's still pretty fucking
It's
good.
pretty
Yeah.
good. It's pretty good. But I don't know. Overall, the taste was pretty solid, I think. Like like we talked about before, I don't know what quantifies an Oktoberfest beer.
Again, I don't think there's an actual like set style.
I think it's just title.
It's just
Right.
Hey, you know what? We're gonna brew this for Oktoberfest. It doesn't have to be a fucking ale. It doesn't have to be a lager. It doesn't have to be a stout. Like it could just be, you know what? This is what we're brewing.
Yeah.
This is our Oktoberfest beer.
Yeah, maybe.
So I'd give this a 7.25.
7.25.
Okay.
All right.
Walden?
Any thoughts on it other than just it's a 7.25 or?
No, I mean, it tasted pretty good. It went down smooth. Good drinkability. I could have a couple more of these and be okay.
Oh, by the way, did we say that it was 6% ABV?
No,
I don't think we did. I mean,
Yeah.
I know we kind of did a quick intro, but on the back here it just says our Fest beer, Festbier, is a refreshing ode to beer's biggest party. Toasty malt and German hops yield notes of fresh bread and floral fruity character for a balanced, crisp lager that makes any moment festive.
Yeah. Well, you said 7.25, huh?
Yep.
Walden?
That being said, is pretty good. I'm not about to say that this beer sucks. I'm not going to say it's trash or anything like that. Like, I would probably drink this quite a bit.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't see the availability that the Sam Adams has, and I think that's one thing that'll always draw me back to Sam Adams is walking through Costco and you see, oh wait, what's that? A 32 pack for $24? Like, hell yeah, I'm gonna buy that. Whatever
Right.
the fuck it is.
Yeah.
This I could only find 6 packs. I don't remember what the price was because I bought it a couple weeks ago, but you know, it's one of those things. It is light. I don't know if I get quite like a malty or bread or floral fucking thing out of it, but it's definitely good.
Yeah.
I would highly suggest this, and I will say that I still believe that Sam Adams is better.
Still? Okay. We're going to do, next week we will do we'll give a ranking of all the Oktoberfest we've had this month.
You know what I've had? I think I've got 2 of the 3 that we've already had left.
Okay.
So we'll save this one here, and then we'll do like a little taste off. See which
Yeah.
one we think is better.
Let's do that.
Yeah,
We'll do that.
that's only a good idea.
Now, speaking of which, do we have any updates on the last one that we have before I give my ranking?
What do you mean, any updates? As far as if we're getting another one?
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything, no.
Okay, we want to verify that so that way I can start looking for more.
Okay. Yeah,
That
we'll
being
do
said, yes, Sierra Nevada Oktoberfest. I will suggest it. Is go out, try it. It's pretty good.
Final score?
7.5.
7.5. All right.
Not bad.
Not as high as Oktoberfest, but it's definitely worth drinking.
I will go ahead and say right now, I think it's probably one of the better ones we've had this month. It does.
Oh, yeah.
It does have great drinkability. It still doesn't quite have that red color like Sam Adams does. I don't know what Sam Adams does to create more of that amber color that they get, but it has a very similar flavor profile. I would probably put this, and I know we said we're going to do a full ranking next week, but as of it stands now, I would say this is my second favorite of all that we've tried, and I'm going to go. I'll go 7.
Oh,
7?
7.
All right.
Cool. 7. So.
And I will say is I'm going to try and pull up the list for next week, have it broken
Yeah.
down on
Let's-
where
let's-
we're at.
Yeah, let's do that.
That
this
way I
week.
can, because we're like, okay, I think this is the second best, but I ranked it a 7, but I actually ranked 2 more above it. You know
Yeah,
what I mean? It's like
yeah.
we'll kind of readjusting because it's hard to compare beers from like 3 and 4 weeks ago.
Yeah. We'll me and you will sit down and we'll
Yeah, I'll get it compiled.
Get all the
I'll make sure
numbers.
we have it next week.
try to get the numbers put together. So, all right, guys, I hope you enjoyed this one. It was a lot of fun for us. Definitely a different experience. If you come out to Vegas, definitely highly suggest Zak Bagan's Honda Museum.
Hit
here
us
in
up. We
Vegas.
want to hang out with people who actually listen to us.
If you do go, let us know. Find us. We'll definitely take another trip around. But until next time, guys.
Oh, you know what I want to say really quick before we go is one thing I think we failed on this year, and I'll tell you is hopefully if we're doing this for another year or so, is we talked about is we should have been giving scary stories every week.
We should
At
have.
least one.
We should have.
This week we've kind of gone on about the Zak Bagan's experience, which is more than fair. But like we should have been talking about, like not even things that we have, but things that other people have experienced. Just creepy things. And again, hopefully we can be able to do this more, but
Why
maybe
don't-
we'll try and get better.
Why don't we do this? If you've listened this far, if you or someone you know has any creepy stories, any weird things that have happened to you or someone you know, shoot us a message. Shoot us a
DM
story.
us. comment.
Shoot us a story. Let us hear your weird or odd experience.
And if it's cool, we'll fucking read it.
hell yeah,
We'll read it on air
We'll get it on air
to all 6 people that listen to us.
and you can have your story read to
Zak Bagan can sue you too for the bad reviews.
Yeah,
No.
right. So let us know. But we'll definitely do that. And we'll have some for you guys next week. So, all right.
You know what I also forgot to say is we did have a guest this entire time, but this guy's just fucking knocked out dead.
Yeah.
He's over here.
Indiana Bones, how you feeling?
Still,
Yep, still out.
still a lot of dead air over there. So, all right, guys. We'll talk to you next week.
Deuces.
Peace.